Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. This is not a good time to visit Tehran. Actually, it's never a good time to visit a despotic theocracy. President Trump set a deadline for nuclear talks. Iran ignored him and paid a very steep price. Now, he's including the protesters.
Could you give us an update on where your thinking is right now with Iran, if you have made a final decision on what you want to do?
I mean, I certainly can't tell you that, but we do have very big, powerful ships heading in that direction. I hope they negotiate something that's acceptable. If you could make a negotiated deal that would be satisfactory with no nuclear weapons, they should do that, but I don't know that they will, but they are talking to us, seriously talking to us.
The Iranian people rose up seeking freedom. Many were killed. Is the U.S. willing to support protesters more aggressively? Is help on the way? Joining us is Deputy Spokesperson for the State Department, Tommy Pigott. Welcome, Mr. Pigott. Thank you for joining us. These protests began weeks ago. Did the U.S. come to the aid of the Iranian people then? And if so, how can more be done?
Well, look, the context of this is a maximum pressure policy that was reinstituted by President Trump in the very beginning of his administration. And that's a policy that was designed to deny the Iranian regime the revenue they needed to fund their malign activities. That includes ballistic missiles, the nuclear program. That includes funding their terrorist proxies around the region. So we had this maximum pressure policy, and we've seen actions continuing up even to this week about implementing that maximum pressure policy to deny the Iranian regime the revenue they need for those malign activities, including that nuclear program that was obliterated by President Trump.
All right, Tommy, I see people on both sides of the political aisle kind of light their hair on fire over this phrase regime change, like it's somehow a pejorative. I mean, we make changes every 2 years in this country. We change leaders every 4 or 8 years at the very top. If Iran is the head of the snake, and so many people have said that it is, why keep current leadership?
Well, ultimately, the president is focused on our national interests, those national interests that he's outlined. He has a very clear message for the regime: no nuclear weapons, stop killing protesters. And the president has shown that he is willing to talk to anyone when it is in our national interest to do so. So the president has been very clear about what he's looking here from the regime. He's been clear he wants to see the regime make a deal. We have this maximum pressure policy in place. The president, again, focused on our national interests, making sure that America is secure, our allies are secure. That's what the president is always focused on, and this is no exception here.
All right, let me ask you about Cuba. Here's the president on Cuba, and I'll ask you about it on the other side.
I think they probably would come to us and want to make a deal, so Cuba would be free again. I think, we'll be kind. We have a situation that's very bad for Cuba. They have no money, they have no oil. Venezuela, they live off Venezuelan money and oil. And none of that's coming now.
All right, Cuba is dying with the changes in Venezuela. What do you think the right role for the U.S. in a country that is actually much closer to us geographically than even Venezuela?
Well, look, ultimately, you have a regime in Cuba that is failing of its own making. You have an incompetent Marxist regime there. It's been failing for a long time, as the president has shown. With the illegitimate Maduro regime, they had an ally there that was helping to prop up the regime in Cuba. And so you've seen the president with the action that he took to bring that indicted narco-terrorist in Maduro to face American justice. That is impacting the Cuban regime, as the president has obviously laid out. You also had oil revenue from the illegitimate Maduro regime that wasn't being used to benefit the Venezuelan people. It was being used to prop up the illegitimate regime in Venezuela and the Cuban regime as well. So that's obviously changed here with you have the actions being taken by the president, making sure that the oil revenue that we see from Venezuela is not being used in a corrupt manner, but instead being used to benefit the people of Venezuela and the people of the United States. We're also clear from the State Department's perspective, following the Hurricane Melissa, for example, that we are working to get aid directly to the people of Cuba, not working with the regime, but directly to the people of Cuba to make sure that we're able to help in that endeavor as well. So the president's been clear about this. He wants to see the regime make a deal, but it's a regime in Cuba that's failing for causes of their own making.
All right, Tommy, before I let you go, if the Ayatollah is watching tonight, and I doubt he is, but if he is, what is the State Department, the President, Secretary Rubio's message to him?
The message is clear from President Trump. No nuclear weapons. Stop killing protesters. Come to the table and make a deal. Stop your malign activities.
Pretty simple. Tommy Pigott, thank you for your service to our country and for joining us on Sunday night.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.